Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Geek Garage podcast. I just want to let you know real quick where you can find us out there on the internet. You can find our podcasts on our website at geekgaragepodcast.com. You can also find us on the Apple iTunes Store, as well as Google Play and Stitcher. We also have a web store for our merch if you'd like to buy some cool shit like t-shirts and handbags and all that cool stuff. That is at geekgaragepodcast.threadless.com, or you can also find the link on our website. Today, we welcome back Andrew Nolenberg, who has been absent for quite some time, but he is back, and he was amazing, like always, whenever we talk about Star Wars or really anything else. But we did talk about The Last Jedi. Obviously, it just came out. We had an awesome time talking about it. We talked about some things that we liked about it, some things that we really liked about it, and then just a few things that we were kind of unsure about. But for the most part, we just gushed about it. Give it up for Andrew Nolenberg and myself for episode 18 of the Geek Garage podcast, The Last Jedi.
Let's do it again. Bum 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 bum.
Spicy winner.
Carlos Spicy Winner here.
I knew I pulled that out of somewhere. I was like, I just, spicy wiener came out of my mouth, and I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
It's amazing that it was going out of your mouth that time.
Yeah, because they usually go in. Because I like men. I'm just kidding. Or am I?
Married with children.
Yes, exactly. Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the Geek Garage podcast. I am your host, David. With me, to my right, is a gentleman who goes by the name of Andrew Nolenberg, which I have not seen in like 1,000 years.
I was frozen in carbonite.
You were?
I was sold off to some.
All right, that's enough. I don't care that much.
All right, well, look, let me know that it was an emotionally traumatizing time period for me.
Yes, were you diddled?
Trump's not president, is he?
No, he's not.
Okay, well, good, because I would tell you to put me back if that's the case.
Oh, well, yeah, you're free to be out, because that's definitely not the case, and the world is not as divided as ever.
Okay, sounds like we're living in a time period of absolute unity.
Yes, we are.
Well, that's wonderful.
Well, shall we get on with the podcast?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, like I said, thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are going to talk about a little film that came out a few weeks ago. You might have heard of it.
As Alvin and the Chipmunks 3,
yeah,
the Nutcracker
and Spicy Wieners.
God, you just can't get away from spicy wieners, man.
I can't. It's just something about it.
All right.
Yes. Star Wars came out like a week and a half ago.
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, which, or is it The Last Jedi?
Hey.
It seems like it's one of those titles where you're like, wait a second. Now that I saw this movie, The Last Jedi doesn't really seem appropriate.
Oh, now that I've seen it and it's totally not The Last Jedi, it's fake news.
Yes. And I'd also
I'm gonna write several blog posts about how much I hate it.
Fuck those guys. We're gonna say a few things right off the bat. One, fuck the people that didn't like it. Okay. And two, warning, spoilers ahead. So we're not one of those.
This is a tolerant group of people that work for this podcast.
Yes.
If you don't have our ideals, fuck yourself.
Right, exactly. No, I want a very niche audience. A very niche audience. They can't just be geeks, but they have to be diehard, blindly loving every Star Wars movie, whether it's terrible or not. God damn it.
Oh my god. I mean, that's how I feel about most of it.
No, because you hate the prequels just as much as everyone.
No, that's those are
those don't even count.
Those are watchable dumpster fires for 3 movies.
Anyways, so Yeah, that's our first disclaimer. The second disclaimer is it wasn't really a disclaimer. You are entitled to your wrong opinion if you did not like the movie.
But that's not to say that there aren't things that we cannot point out and maybe go, eh.
Yeah, and we definitely will get into those. Second disclaimer, just like the other episodes that we do, they are full of spoilers. So warning, if you have not seen the movie yet, go ahead and put this on pause, run to your local theater real quick, spend the $17,000 it takes to go see a movie.
They usually have financing plans available.
They do. And go see the movie, come back, press play again, and then listen to us gush about this Star Wars film.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, Andrew, are you ready?
Oh, I am. What are you doing? What is that?
I don't know. That character's not even in this fucking movie.
Was that an attempt at Darth Vader?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, me. Apparently, me too.
You have failed me for the last time.
No, you will die.
You sound like E.T. Which is fucking terrifying for me, so that's fine.
Yeah, we all know your history.
Shut
with
the hell up.
E.T.
It's fine. I'm a strong man who's not afraid of a little alien.
I have a very rich, high timbre to my voice, like a little girl crossed with Charlie Day. It's very embarrassing.
You want to talk about Star Wars now?
All right, so let's get into it, shall we?
Sure.
So I think first, normally I'd like to go with the bad first and then the good, but since the good definitely outweighs the bad with this movie, let us go with the good first.
Sure, absolutely.
Unless you have any objection.
No.
Cool. All right, well, one of the things that I really liked about the movie was the originality of it. I thought that... one of the central complaints that The Force Awakens got was that it was too derivative. It mirrored too closely to A New Hope, with the whole, like, oh, there's a big space station that's trying to kill everything, and we have to blow that up before it kills us. And there was a few other, things riddled throughout that movie that were similar to A New Hope.
Sure.
None of that stuff bothered me. But with that being said, it was nice to see in this movie a little bit of originality tied into it. Some new things that, I wasn't really expecting. So
they definitely went, they took it in a direction that I don't think a lot of people expected. And I think the similarity to A New Hope that The Force Awakens displayed was purposeful. Disney had just purchased Lucasfilm, and this was their first attempt at making a movie in the Star Wars genre, and so they had to, I think, remind everyone.
They needed to get everyone back on
why
board.
They like Star Wars, because the last theatrical experience people had for Star Wars was Revenge of the Sith, which was 2 hours of dry, terrible dialogue and
it was
riddled with some good fights, and that's about it. So,
as the honest trailers folks put it, the good one in the prequel trilogy.
And that's not saying a lot.
It's really not.
So that being said, you had to bring everyone back, and they certainly did with The Force Awakens. It was a good movie, regardless of whatever similarities you can point out. It definitely set the groundwork for where we arrive in this film, where they took it and went and just went in this whole new direction. There were plot choices that I did not see coming. The death of Snoke. Kylo Ren just saying fuck it and seeing his opportunity and taking him out and becoming the new supreme leader. The force bonds between Rey and Kylo Ren and their conversations and the tension between them and their relationship. It was almost, it was tragic that for her that he, that the Ben Solo would not come back, that he would not turn from the dark side. And then on his thing, he really wanted her to stand by his side and, rule this new order that he was going to create by getting rid of, as he kept saying, let the past die. So this movie did things that no other Star Wars movie had done. You saw force powers on display that no other Star Wars movie had done. And you saw, I mean, we've never seen the apprentice kill the master in the way that we saw with, again, I keep going back to Kylo killing Snoke. So very fresh, nice exploration of the Force and what it is. It was cool to see different ships too. Like, for instance, the gigantic, the two different gigantic ships that the First Order displayed. The Dreadnought at the very beginning was neat. So it's like, okay, cool. That's like their new powerhouse Star Destroyer thing with the big, those big orbital bombardment cannons that can just fuck. It's like almost shooting a nuclear weapon at somebody,
Yeah.
And then, of course, Snoke's ship, the fucking, it looked like a gigantic stealth bomber from like the U.S. military, like that thing.
It's just Texas flying.
Yeah, it's just woo doggy. Yeah, let's get us some resistance, bitches. Like that ship was fucking enormous, and so that and the fucking use of hyperspace as a kamikaze weapon. Like, when she started turning her ship around, I'm like, she's not gonna do that shit. Oh my god, she did that shit.
Yeah.
So, yay for all of the, still maintaining the familiarity of some Star Wars stuff with our AT-AT walkers at the end, and now the shift from calling them resistance to rebels, because the First Order does now kind of have a foothold in the galaxy. So they're not really the Republic fighting the First Order, because the Republic's fucking gone. So they are a rebellion now, and so I mean, it just kind of did whatever it wanted to. So kudos to Rian Johnson for just writing whatever the hell he wanted to, and for Disney allowing him to do that. Yeah,
for sure. And something, while you were talking, I wasn't really listening, because what I have to say is ultimately more important. One thing I realized was that I don't think they did this too much with The Force Awakens, but with The Last Jedi, there was a good combination of bringing you back to the old movies versus, giving you some new stuff. And they took it seems like they took it lightly with the shoving the
nostalgia in your face,
down your throat.
I mean, really,
and all the unnecessary head nods that we could have gotten. I think we were much better.
You got Yoda.
Yeah.
Great scene, but so there's that. Okay, cool. We've pulled some nostalgia out with Yoda. And you got a couple of musical cues that were familiar. For instance, when Snoke was torturing Rey.
And he started singing "The Hills Are Alive" with the Sound of Music.
Yeah, I mean, what an unexpected musical number just midway through.
Andy Serkis has a beautiful voice.
He is a graceful dancer. The motion capture on his
classically ballroom trained.
Unbelievable.
I know.
It's like watching Fred Astaire just in the middle of a Star Wars movie. Fucker. Oh my god! Now I just want to see somebody animate Snoke just dancing around his fucking throne room and then get cut in half.
Yes.
But anyway. A couple musical cues, like the Emperor's music played when Snoke was torturing her, which that was kind of neat. And then when the Falcon is flying through the salt mines of Crate, the Death Star attack music is playing there. That was really neat, because it's kind of reminiscent of when Lando was flying the Falcon through the second Death Star, all the close quarters and everything. So that was really good. But beyond a few things like that, I mean, Praetorian guards with weapons that are going after lightsabers the way that they are.
Those were the dudes in red,
In red, yeah. They're called Praetorian guards.
Yeah, they were kind of terrifying.
They were badass as hell.
I didn't realize... I mean, I guess it makes sense for them to be some of the best trained...
Well, because, of course, they're protecting their leader, you know? Because it never was explained in the movies and the old ones, but, like, Return of the Jedi, those red Imperial guards can fuck your shit up. Like, they're the best trained warriors in the Empire.
You're just so used to seeing the worthless pieces of shit stormtroopers that, can't hit the broadside of a barn.
And now you got these guys, right?
Yeah, who can actually fight. So,
But a couple scenes with R2, and then, like, that's it. I mean, really... You can't just call Luke Skywalker nostalgia, because he's a central character in this movie. So after you get over the fact that, oh, there he is, his performance is very different, from versions of Luke that we've gotten in the past. So you're right. I mean, I'd say the split on the nostalgia versus originality is a 60-40 or 70-30 in favor of the originality. So
right. Yeah, for sure. You want to talk about the cinematography?
Beautiful. I mean, damn.
But, so it reminded me a lot of what they were trying to do with Rogue One. And I know we have slightly different opinions about Rogue One, but we both agree that that movie is beautiful. It's
pretty.
And
this one's prettier, though.
I might agree with that. I mean, there's more room for having.
If
good
you were to
cinematography.
take still shots from some of the more iconic scenes in this film, Luke facing Kylo Ren and the wreckage that's behind them. There's one scene in like the snapshot when Luke gets to the other side of Kylo, where now his back is to the walkers.
Mm-hmm.
If you just stop it right there, you've got, everything that's in that one shot and the way that it's framed is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. The way that the little rusty old speeders were with the red salt being kicked up behind them when they're going in a straight line to face those walkers. Everything about the end on Crate, that battle, is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I loved the idea of the red salt being kicked up was such it worked so well, and it was such a visual stimulus.
Right.
That was just nice to see. It was like almost like when the speeders were initially attacking the walkers, it was almost like an old World War II fighter jet movie or something like that. That's kind of what it reminded me of, with their little streaks going behind them and they're in this little squadron. That was just fantastic. And then another beautiful way that the way that Snoke's throne room is initially introduced, and then when Kylo and Rey are pulling the lightsaber against each other, and then because of the force push that's happening in between them, when they get slid further away,
right?
And you look at this, you have this broken down throne room and all the sparks going on behind them. It's like there were so many iconic moments that you almost just want to go, with a camera, to capture them because it's so pretty. Yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to owning this on Blu-ray, so I can just pause shots.
Yeah,
and just look at it for. Would you just look at it?
Look at that.
Look at that. Would you just look at it?
Look at all this delicious death.
Some notes I had on the cinematography. All the shots on Octo. Is that how you pronounce it?
Octo, yeah.
Okay.
Or Ireland.
Is that where
they filmed it on Skellig Island in Ireland?
Okay, I saw several times it crop up on the internet, like, want to see where or want to know the name of the island where they filmed the training scenes, and I was like, you're not getting me, clickbait.
Yeah, it's called Skellig Island.
All the shots with her training, it just makes me want a drone so I can do those awesome aerial overhead shots.
There's a few shots where she's following Luke around, you know, and she's just basically stalking him when she gets there. Those are shot really well.
Yeah, so those scenes, we were just talking about Crate, just basically the entire time they're on Crate is fantastic. And then also we just talked about Vice Admiral, I almost said Hodor, and that's not
Holdo.
Right.
Holdo.
Holdo. When she makes the ultimate sacrifice and fucking light speeds the shit out of the ship into the other ship. That scene,
I liked how they went with the break of sound.
Yes.
Because light is faster than sound.
Yeah.
So you would get that. You would see it before you hear it, kind of thing. Yeah, and that was neat.
And how, for a solid 10 seconds, there wasn't any sound to the movie. So, just the audience was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Did your theater have a disclaimer when you were going, at the check-in counter that tells you, hey, there's a spot in this movie where there's no sound for 10 seconds. Your shit ain't broken. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they had it over here.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I
guess enough people were worried about it that they're like, is the movie broken? So they had to put a poster up.
It reminds me, not to get too off topic, but it reminds me of the notes that Mexico started putting up when Coco was just released in theaters.
Okay.
Letting them know that if you want to arrive to the theater 30 minutes late, because there's an annoying ass Frozen short that you didn't ask for.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Apparently it wasn't that great, and it was 22 minutes long.
Yeah, it's
like
you're
that.
seeing a whole nother movie.
Yeah, and people were saying that it was 22 minutes too long.
Oh no.
So yeah, it was. I mean, it was all over Twitter for
that is
a day.
If you just don't want to come until 20 minutes.
Yeah,
in.
like seriously, they were. I think.
Which is sad. It's funny because Coco is awesome.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Yeah, that's really funny that the Frozen. I know this is a side note again. I did see it, and the Frozen short is like okay,
right?
Like,
yeah, like 22 minutes long. That's unnecessary.
We already got a Frozen movie. I don't need a 22-minute long Frozen short. I didn't come here to see that. It's not.
No.
Anyway,
so, yeah, that's all the notes that I have on the cinematography. One other thing, the whole opening scene, with
Poe doing
yeah,
Highway to the Danger Zone the entire time.
Like, hey, I need to talk with.
I need to talk to General Hugs. Hugs.
You have General Hugs.
Can you hear me? That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like to open the movie with that, like
this. I'm going to defeat you and your entire rebellion. Hello, I'm still holding. Can you hear me? Holding for General Hugs. He kept calling. Did you catch? He was calling him Hugs.
I don't know if I realized.
Skinny
that.
guy, kind of pasty. Just talking mad shit. Poe Dameron is. Might be my new favorite character in Star Wars, period, because he's just, fuck it, let's do this. Like, I'm going to get my X-Wing and kick your ass. Right. And I love that he is obsessed with BB-8, like one would be obsessed with, like, a puppy or a cat. You know, he's, oh my God.
Yeah. So what about the acting and the chemistry between the characters?
It's the best acting that has been in a Star Wars movie, period. End of story. Performance-wise, they all did awesome. None of the dialogue and scenes that were shared between two characters or whatever made me go, okay. And that's the thing about the prequels that was so distracting. Had the acting in the prequels been mildly good,
it could have made up for.
Honestly, I don't know if I would hate it as much because there are some neat things that happen in the prequels, but I think for the most part, you're just like, if Hayden Christensen talks one more fucking time, like, and you want to like him because he's supposed to be Anakin Skywalker, but the whole time he's just like an emo kid,
right?
And then you expect more from a Natalie Portman and from a Sam Jackson and from a Liam Neeson, all those actors that just kind of, you know. And that's I'm sorry, that's the director's fault.
Yeah.
You're directing your actors, so that, that's your fault. So now this movie, every one of those actors just
brought their A game.
Brought the A game, and the director brought out their A game.
Yeah.
Specifically, Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver, and then Adam Driver on top of all of that, while keeping his trademark semi-whiny shit, which is honestly just kind of funny now. That to me now has grown into more, he is unhinged, and when he hits that emotional aspect of him where his weakness is his emotions. And that was put on fucking display where the First Order could have very fucking easily walked up into Crate and fucked it all up and blew it up. And the minute he sees Luke Skywalker, it's fucking done. Like, just because he saw him. So seeing him portray those emotions in the way that Adam Driver did was outstanding. I mean, like, it was all over his fucking face. It was awesome.
He's an amazing actor.
He did a great job. And then he and Daisy's scenes during their Force Bond things, and then even when they were actually confronting Snoke, awesome. I really liked Oscar Isaac again as Poe. Poe's just great, and I liked just all of his stuff. And then Mark Hamill. Yeah, I mean, what a great job coming back to this character and finding a way to portray him a little differently, obviously, because he's grumpy Grandpa Luke this time.
Yeah.
But the amount, did you notice, like, if you look at Mark Hamill's eyes in this movie, how there's always a twinkle in them? It's almost like he's got a little bit of tears going on in his eyes the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like, this is such a tragic character now in this one because he has failed so hard. At one point in his life, he was the legendary Luke Skywalker, and then he failed spectacularly with his nephew, and you can just see that pain and that long-term anguish just all over his face and in everything that he says, and his whole attitude through most of the movie is that. And then that's why, for me, it was so inspiring when he finally let go of his let's just call it, not his aversion to helping and
Right.
getting over his failure and using his failure as a lesson, as Yoda tells him.
Yeah.
And finally reconciling with Leia and kind of giving the rebellion a nice little boost that it needed. So all of that was so believable and it just drew you in because of how well these actors performed. And they really sold their characters incredibly well.
So I feel like we've given a lot of love to pretty much everyone except for Finn and Rose.
Okay.
Who definitely deserve some praise. I put down in my notes when I was thinking about the scenes that Finn has been in with all the characters, I realized that he should put on his resume works well with others.
He's a team player, ain't he?
Yes, because like he's had scenes with a bunch of different characters. The scenes with Finn and Rose, I thought were really good, and they were enough to make up for some of the other not necessarily slow parts.
Their little adventure that they went on and the plot of that wasn't necessarily awesome, but those guys are good. Those two characters are cool. Rose was cute. She was so adorable, I love her little spunk that she had. And Kelly Marie Tran is the name of the actress that portrayed her, and very endearing, very cute. I love the very go-getter kind of attitude that she had, and her she starts off being so enamored by these heroes and then ends up being one herself, by the end of the movie. So that was a very cool thing, and it'd be neat to see her kind of do some more stuff in the next one. But John Boyega's a freaking Class A talent, man.
Yeah.
He's got more charisma in his little finger than we've got in our entire bodies. That guy is unbelievable. So I want Finn to do something amazing in episode 9. Give him a little more, because so far he's had great moments. I mean, he showed how brave he was both at the end of episode 7 and at the end of this movie. He's not a force wielder, and he goes right after Kylo Ren with a lightsaber, a weapon that he has no business wielding, and he's just like, screw it, I'm killing you.
Right.
So to save his friends, and then in this one, almost kamikazing himself into that big gun to try to save everyone. It's neat to see. It's like, though he has the tendency to want to run because of how tortured he is from being a part of the First Order and being raised. I mean, that's all he ever knew. He was abducted as a child and put into the Stormtrooper program.
Right.
For him to be able to break away from that, this is the only true family he's ever had. And I think his wanting to run in this one wasn't born out of fear. It was born out of, all I care about is my friend Rey, because she was the first one to really show him attention and care for him outside of just the rigid, day-to-day of being a stormtrooper.
Right.
So, I mean, he's got a fierce loyalty to them, and it was neat to see him have that dynamic now with another character and have someone who cares about him as much as he's cared about others. Rose, meaning how much she wanted to help him, and obviously she gets a thing for him. She wants to she kisses him at the end, so that was cute. But yeah, I like them as characters. I didn't necessarily like their little adventure that the casino thing was
scene.
like, okay,
yeah. I have that down in my notes under things that I maybe didn't like so much about the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. So I have a few things about character development.
Okay.
I thought that they did a really good job with taking what we know about the characters from The Force Awakens and just like expanding on that.
They've all leveled up.
Yeah. I thought that they did, that was one of my favorite things that they did in The Force Awakens was the characters. Getting the audience connected with brand new characters that you aren't familiar with. I mean, it was cool that they brought back Han Solo, but for the most part, you got all new characters. So it was very important to establish, a connection between your audience and your characters, because they're going to be holding on to them for the next 3 movies. And and I just love how, in The Force Awakens, that you got to know just enough about them to where, it cuts off and
you want more.
Yeah, and you want more, and you get more, but just enough to make you.
You've had your appetizer, and you've you've had a drink. Now where's my entree?
Right.
I'm ready for the full course now.
Yeah, and I thought that they, as far as the character development goes, they set it up perfectly to, in episode 9, to have some revelatory moments with all their characters where they either have to make really big decisions or have to make certain sacrifices.
I think in this one you got Poe Dameron learning how to be a leader and not just a hotshot pilot. It would have been very easy to continue, because really everything we saw of Poe in episode 7 was he kicks ass.
Yeah.
And that's all he knows how to do.
Yeah.
In this one, he had another, it was nice to see a vulnerability to him and to round him out a little bit.
Yeah.
To where he make his bravery is a gift and a curse. He gets a lot of people killed at the beginning of the movie because he doesn't know when to, Leia understands how valuable lives are, and she understands when it's okay to sacrifice them and when it's not. And I don't think Poe understood that. He wanted to go out there and take down the First Order and be a hero. And unfortunately, they got a lot of people killed at the beginning of the movie. And so it's nice to see him actually go through a character development where he learns how to see the big picture and be more of a leader, and learn from Leia and even from Holdo, in the way that he did. With Finn, again, okay, it's more, again, he's wanting to run after Rey, but it's not all about Rey. You've got a whole group of people that care about you now. You've got Poe, you've got Rose, this whole organization is your family now. And so to see him be ready and willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for the good of everyone, and not just, oh, I got to kill the First Order or I want revenge. It was neat to see him do that and to be more involved. And if you remember correctly, he didn't know how to fly shit in episode 7.
Yeah.
And to see him jump into a speeder in this one was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So he's growing as a fighter also. And he fucking took a big old stick and hit Phasma right in the damn face, whether or not that was, that whole thing was a little underdeveloped, but just that itself, that he stood up to her, which was neat. And then we could almost do a whole episode on Kylo and Rey, but they definitely have taken the next steps in their
I had
journey.
You mentioned Kylo Ren a few minutes ago as quickly becoming your favorite character. He was kind of my MVP of this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
As just across the board, hitting all the points of how the points that I like my characters to hit.
I understand why he wants to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome.
Yeah, that's part of what makes the movie.
And it's also sad because you almost want to tell him, okay, dude, calm the fuck down. It's going to be fine.
Right.
Like, Luke didn't mean to fucking, almost kill you that one time. Or, just, there's his whole downfall is so sad because it didn't have to go that way.
Yeah.
And he's had so many chances with Han in episode 7 being like, come on, man, it's okay. And then he trying to get him away from Snoke. I think his decision to kill Snoke wasn't born out of revenge necessarily or power. I think for a split second we got, okay, maybe he might turn, because Han said it to him. He goes, he's just using you for your power. Once he gets what he wants, he'll crush you. And Snoke manipulated Kylo so much, and he kept saying, I want you to be the next Vader, and blah, 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 blah. Really, at the end of the day, Vader was a slave. Once Vader was in that suit, he's a slave to Palpatine. Palpatine wanted to replace him from the moment he ended up getting hurt and being put in the fucking suit.
Right.
That's suit Vader was not what Palpatine wanted. And so in this one, I think Kylo, after the beginning with taking his helmet off, he's finally just like, I am so tired of this fucking old man, And so to see him kill him and then they wipe out all those guards, I think for a second, once again, here's his chance. He can right the wrongs of his past and go to the light side. Or I can be the supreme leader of this entire fucking thing.
Right.
That sounds pretty good, And you almost can't fault him sometimes. You're like, well, that does sound pretty sweet. And everyone that you've been in a relationship with before has kind of fucked you. So I kind of understand why you want to burn it all to the ground.
Right.
Your dad was never really around because he was flying the Millennium Falcon and fucking doing shit like that. Leia's trying to organize the fucking Republic again. And Luke just really fucked up with you. So, yeah. Snoke was kind of the first person that was nice to you, I guess.
Right.
So you wanted to do the dark side, and then he's an asshole to you. So then it's like, that's it! That's it. I'm done. I'm burning it all to the ground.
I guess I'll...
More!
I guess I'll just go be friends with his wrinkly ball sack.
Yeah. No, and then, of course, the ball sack betrays you. So,
Right.
Cut his ass in half.
Yes. That was excellent.
That was wonderful.
It
And
was so good.
I laughed. I saw the movie again today. And I'm sitting there with my sister, and when they cut back to Snoke's dead body on the fucking ground, you get that close-up, and it's like, his mouth's open and shit. We burst out laughing in this silent theater. And I could tell that most of the people in it today hadn't seen it, you know? And so it was funny, like, here's everyone's still reeling in shock from, like, this thing that's just happened. And then they cut back to dead fucking Snoke, and she and I just go, I just start fucking laughing in the whole theater. And everyone's like, what the fuck is their problem, you know?
Is it the next scene when Hux like comes in?
That's when it was.
Okay,
yeah.
Isn't that the scene where like you can see Snoke in the background and like the front half of his body like
falls down and his hands are still on the fucking counter, and you're just like, yeah, it's just, it's like here is this asshole, overconfident piece of shit who just gets wrecked so hard, and his body is just so disrespected after it's over. Like, it's just, this hunk of shit. Like,
right.
I half expected Kylo Ren to just do a quick little teabag at the end, just fucking, yeah, gotcha, bitch, Anyway, we keep going off of these things, but
no.
Back to the idea of character development. I think the best one that we got was Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
Because of that, and then in its shortness, the other one that I want to draw attention to is Luke Skywalker, because you and I included, we had our own expectations for what we were going to get with Luke, and I was, when I was fresh out of watching The Force Awakens, 2 years ago, I was like, oh yeah, like, Luke's going to be like, what's up, Rey? Here's your lightsaber. Some shit's gone down.
And he just fucking
oh, fuck, are you kidding me? Let's go kick their fucking ass,
right.
And I was waiting for, like, green lightsaber wielding badass motherfucker to come back, and then, like, the closer and closer and closer and closer I got to this movie, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, is that a realistic thing?
No.
Is that, and it, like, number one, Mark Hamill's 66 years old, so he's not going to be flipping around like Ewan McGregor did, in the prequels, and I'm like, okay, and does it fit him? Does that kind of just, fit? No, it doesn't.
Right.
And to have them portray Luke from the first scene in the movie wanting nothing to do with what Rey is telling him about, to finally remembering what's important and getting some much needed instruction from Yoda. It's not like it was a blink overnight, Luke's fine now kind of thing. That was such a slow build.
Yes.
And the emotional payoff of seeing him finally show up, give Leia a kiss on the forehead, and just apologize, like, I'm here. And he did it in such a Obi-Wan Kenobi self-sacrificing kind of way.
Yeah.
To do a force power like the force projection thing, or flow walking as it was known in the EU, at the end, knowing that is gonna fuck your body up pretty bad by doing that.
Right.
Which, did you catch earlier in the movie Kylo Ren actually saying that to Rey about the Force? Because their first Force, like, conversation,
Force
let's
time.
just say, Force time. Their Force timing. I
Force
love that. Their first Force time session. He's like, "Are you?
What service do you have?"
You're coming in really blurry.
You must have T-Mobile.
You must have. Yeah, you're on fucking.
You're on Cricket Wireless.
Cricket. Yeah, you're on Cricket. But he's like completely confused by it, and he says, "You can't be doing this because it would tear you apart." So they reference the fact that it's possible to put yourself, to project yourself, but it takes a lot out of you.
Right.
And you have to be incredibly powerful to be able to do that. Obviously, I would think that Luke has learned some shit in his time. But so Luke knows that, okay, well, I really don't have a ship because I threw it in the ocean. So I got to help him some way. Well, let me just fucking rip my body apart by projecting myself across the fucking galaxy and somehow also simulate a lightsaber fight. Like, that whole thing was like he knew that this was going to fuck him up by doing it, but all he was trying to do was give the rebellion its hope back and its spark back. And I loved how then you have those kids at the end. That one kid's like talking about Luke Skywalker again, and so Luke's purpose was not to be the battlefield general or the great warrior that steps forth and destroys the enemy. Luke Skywalker's purpose was to be a legend again, and legends are powerful. Luke went out, I mean, you could draw a lot of religious implications to this, where Luke went out in a way that did way more harm to the First Order than him actually physically standing up to them.
Yeah.
And it was also nice once again to see Kylo just get punked again, and he's just like, I can't fucking win! You know, it's like,
I just sliced a ghost in half.
like, he's a ghost! Shit! And then he's just like, see you around, kid. God, that's a sick burn! Like, oh my god, he might as well have just said, I'm gonna haunt you for fucking ever.
And the whole fucking, the brushing the dirt off
Oh
his
my
shoulder.
god, he's just pissing him off. He's just like, yeah, what's up, bitch? I want every gun we have to fire on that man. More! And then just brush, son of a bitch! God damn it! Set me down there, I'm going to fuck him! And then, oh yeah, here we go, I got him, swipe. Like, he's so mad, you know, and...
No wonder he has rage issues.
Oh, he's like that dude. Eventually in episode 9, he's just going to shoot himself in the throat. Like, he's going to pull out an actual old school gun and just off himself because he's like, I'm done. Fuck you guys.
Right.
That's going to be the climactic ending, is it's going to be like, all right, here comes Rey. Oh, she's going to fight Kylo Ren, and then she's going to do some shit he's not ready for, and then every bad luck scenario he could possibly have is going to fucking hit him all at the same time, and he's just going to shoot himself in the fucking head.
All right, so we're getting close to bringing home the things that we liked.
Okay.
So I guess we could talk a little bit about like the big scenes, like the really big climactic scenes, and like some of the action stuff.
Okay.
I mean, we've kind of.
We've glossed over some of it.
Yeah, touching on some of the other stuff, we've already talked about most of what I had down. I had down the opening scene, which we've already talked about.
My God,
it's
like playing the first level of Star Fox on,
Right.
on easy mode.
Yeah.
You're just like pew 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 pew, done.
Yeah, Rey's training on the islands. How it wasn't wasn't what I expected her training to be, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah.
The big showdown on Crate with Luke, like we were just talking about, with Luke showing up, and then in that all them in the speeders, you know, heading towards the walkers.
Or in my opinion, my favorite scene in the movie, the Praetorian Guard fight.
Yeah. Oh no, that's
the best scene in the goddamn movie.
Yeah, that's it's funny, like that was my very last bullet point.
Oh, okay.
It says, in my personal favorite, Rey and Kylo's tag team lightsaber
Oh my
fight.
god, it's ding 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 go.
Like how that few seconds of slow motion when they both in tandem start
and
attacking.
they like kick off, like she like uses like his back and she like pushes off against him when she like hits one of them.
It was the sexiest thing I've ever seen.
I was waiting for them
and
to start
I've watched
doing
porn.
I was waiting for them to do like fucking like I was waiting for like a WWE announcer to come out of nowhere. By God! And just like, she gives him a stunner, you know, one of the fucking guards, and then into a rock bottom from Kylo, and they're just like, ah! And then like when they kill everyone, one of them just should have held up a belt. Like it just, you know.
She takes 2 Ice House beers, bashes them together.
But fuck, that whole scene is just like, number one, it was neat to see a group of badass looking bad dudes, you know, with the Praetorian Guards all had their different weapons and cool shit, and it was neat to see where on the weapon could actually be the thing that could deflect a lightsaber, you know, that was like the electro. Remember the electro staffs that the droids wielded from episode 3? They were General Grievous's like personal guards. They had like the little cloaks and they had little spinny staffs. They had
I think so.
Purple shit on the ends. That's, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan had to fight those things. So, like, you know, that kind of technology was out there. So it was neat to see these things, like, stand up to Force wielders with lightsabers, and to actually, like, the whip weapon, that when that dude, the guy was bringing her in with that whip, that was my favorite moment of the guards themselves. Like, that was scary because it's like you're unsure of her ability to begin with to even handle it, and then he's like, I'm gonna fucking get you.
Yeah, because like although she's the definition of a natural with a lightsaber, but that she really hasn't had any formal training. Like she knows how to wield a bow staff, and some skills obviously transferred over, and then there's the yet to be seen where she's getting all this natural power. Hopefully
I think part of her natural ability to defend herself comes from just growing up in the shittiest environment imaginable. So she knows she's very self-sufficient. I think born out of how her upbringing was. It's almost like being raised by wolves. She just was, unfortunately, on Jakku, she was a fucking junk trader. She was almost a slave to that fucking Unkar plot piece of shit, 1 1/4 portion. That Simon Pegg, by the way.
Yeah, Simon Pegg.
And so I think her ability to naturally defend herself is definitely there. And now you've given that girl the Force. So she's going to kick a little bit more ass than you'd think. And I want to bring up something about that, actually, because you're like, why is she so good? I think a lot of people have said, well, why is she just so naturally good? Compare her and Kylo Ren and their fighting abilities to Luke Skywalker in the original trilogy, and then go back another one to the prequel era fighters, okay? The best fighters are in the prequel era, because that is the golden age of Jedi and Sith, and what they're able to do and the training fucking Jedi go to school, and they're being taught by Yoda and all these masters, and so no shit, they're gonna know how to do some pretty spectacular fighting. The Empire destroyed the Jedi, so in the original trilogy there is no one except for old man Ben Kenobi for a few minutes to show Luke how to block some bolts out of a fucking ball, and then Yoda and him do some backpack running throughout the fucking woods, and that's it. He doesn't do anything else with his lightsaber. So all the shit he learns how to do is kind of basic, but the only person he's ever going to confront with a lightsaber is Darth Vader, and even Darth Vader's abilities, by the time Jedi is coming around, are slightly diminished because he's kind of, his suit sort of sucks, So there's no one. Who are you comparing the fighting to? And then by the time we get to this era of Star Wars, there ain't nobody out there who knows how to do shit with a fucking lightsaber. So you're never, I think that's purposeful, is the Jedi of old and the Sith of old were these legendary warriors who knew how to do some incredible shit. Who we're dealing with now are these kids who are just trying to fucking survive and learn how to fight. So I have no problem with the fact that their fighting isn't as flashy. But it's so much more visceral and direct.
No, I like it. That it's like dirty.
Yeah, it's dirty fighting because that's all they got.
Yeah.
So, and even speaking of that, like watching Kylo wield his lightsaber and the way that he does, don't you feel like every time he hits you, you're getting hit by a fucking aluminum baseball bat?
Yeah.
Because it just looks like it's just, there's so much. He's not trying to fucking beat you by flipping his shit around and being whatever.
It's no fancy sparring.
He's almost fighting you like a medieval sword fighter would.
Yeah.
Helps that his lightsaber has a little, thing on it, the crossguard thing.
Yeah.
But you notice how his stance is always like pointing it, and he's almost fencing you. He's fighting you like he's wielding a broadsword from the medieval times.
Yeah.
That's a whole style we've never seen before, and that's so fucking cool that they're doing that now. So that whole scene with the Red Guards showcased 100,000 things in one little sequence of shit that I'm like, God, I love this new version of Star Wars. Like, what a great idea to show them off. And generally, when you think lightsaber fights, it's two duelists going after each other. This was a lightsaber fight where they were fighting non-Jedi opponents. Oh my God. And you're right. Probably the best 5 seconds of slow-mo in the history of fucking cinema.
I just I get goosebumps just every single fucking time that I think about
By God!
Cops man! I thought that's what you were doing there.
No, I was doing JR, Jim Ross.
Oh, yeah.
The WWE guy. But, by God! It's The Undertaker!
It's the Undertaker!
Dong.
Anyways.
God damn it.
So I think we touched on pretty much everything that I had as far as things that I really liked about the movie.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing things that...
My closing remark as far as the goodness of this movie and why I overall love it is because it dared to be different. For me, I'm a sucker for some killer acting. I get sucked into performances, so that was very apparent in this one. So it was nice to see a Star Wars movie, which is never going to win a fucking Academy Award for any kind of best acting or anything like that. But exactly, it was definitely a step up from what they've done before, as performance wise. So I was totally into that. So I felt leaving this movie that I got my Star Wars experience, but I also got to experience something very fresh and fun. And I'm excited, and it made episode 9 completely unpredictable. So we'll have plenty to talk about for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe at the end of this podcast.
Yeah, we hopefully we'll have time at the end. We can do a little bit of speculation. But yeah, let's move on to we'll be gentle. We don't have anything where we're just like completely bashing the movie.
No.
But they are some slight reservations, some slight issues that we had, we'll just jump into them.
And I think some of the things in reading your notes, I disagreed with a couple of them, but that's, for conversation purposes, like that's good.
Yeah,
That's fine.
You might be able to sway my opinion.
Hit me with it.
So, I thought that I don't know if it was the editing or what, but the scene where they pick up Benicio del Toro's character DJ, and he's talking.
DJ.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So they pick him up. They're finally leaving the casino planet or whatever the fuck it's called, and he's talking about how the arms dealers, they've been double dealing basically to the
First Order and Resistance.
The First Order and the Resistance. And then it quick cuts to, not a quick cut necessarily, but the next scene is the scene where Poe is trying to go rogue.
He's taking over the ship.
Yeah, because he thinks that...
Holdo's dumb.
Yeah. And we find out that she's not, that she basically knows what she's doing, and Leia put her in charge
for a reason. Yep.
But the way that unfolded was a little confusing to me.
I think where some of your dislike for that, I agree with you for sure. And
like I feel like they set that up to make it look like Holdo was going to be bad or be someone who maybe infiltrated the Resistance.
I didn't catch that from it. I just kind of got a jolt of like, okay, that was messy. Like, I never thought that. I thought one of two things was going to happen with Holdo. Even she was going to turn out to be like a really fucking smart chick and have a great idea, and she did, obviously.
Yeah. Or
straight up, she does sort of suck, and then Poe was going to make the right decision and get rid of her. But I liked the fact that she was a good person, But when you talk about editing, actually, I want to say that the editing in this movie was great because you didn't get the old George Lucas fucking Microsoft PowerPoint between every fucking scene.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like when I say the editing, I mean like
scene choice.
Yeah, overall, the editing and the pacing in this movie was, I want to say, it was a small notch below The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens was full throttle.
Yeah, it was perfectly paced.
This one was a little slower, but I think it had to be because of some of the choices to really give time for performances to kind of manifest. But in regards to what you were just talking about with this particular scene, I think the reason why you felt the way that you did is because Benicio del Toro's whole thing was kind of a waste of time. And it wasn't the strongest part of the movie, so all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, here's this fucking idiot who I don't care about at all. Oh, wait, now we're back to Poe getting pissed off at her. It's like the choice of when that was going to be put in could have definitely been more clean.
Yeah.
Because, and I think we can maybe transition to this. I think the whole Canto Blight thing was too long and silly anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
yeah, and that was a good transition because that was in the notes, and I think that whole part of the movie was universally one of the things that a lot of people had issues with, and I totally get it. I had a few issues with it. I don't hate the porgs.
I love the porgs,
but I don't
the porgs aren't on Canto Blight.
Well, I know, but
okay.
I was going to segue from that. Like, it almost seemed like a merchandising type of situation, and the whole in addition to that.
So are you saying maybe they included? You think they included Canto Blight just for the sake of including some other world with new shit that we can have?
Yeah.
I kind of felt that way with those horse things.
Yeah.
The Falthiers, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, and their attempt to try to reel us into what's her name? The girl that was traveling with Finn.
Oh, Rose.
Rose, yeah. That was, their attempt to reel us into her past, and it kind of seemed forced and a little hurried, and I would have loved a better opportunity to get to know, her motivations.
That whole thing wasn't complete shit, but it was just kind of like...
It wasn't fantastic.
You're like, okay, so she likes animals.
So...
I don't like animals, or I love animals, then I think casinos are dumb. And... let's go steal them.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's not a completely unnecessary. We could do away with this type of scene because it does connect them to their final Finn and Rose's climax scene when they get on that ship, whatever ship it was, and it goes down.
I could make an improvement to that. I mean, well, my personal opinion about the Canto Blight thing, as far as an improvement that I would make right off the rip, don't even put Benicio del Toro in this movie and ditch the concept of a master code breaker completely. Rose can be your character that knows how to do that shit, but maybe have it be like there is some maybe have the First Order have a little bit of a hand in Canto Blight. So meaning it's like, hey, there is a code, or there is some information, or there's something that sold to the highest bidder, or someone down there that has information like that we can get it from. If I can just get that, I can get us into that ship. Give her a little more skill and stuff to do. So then it's like, cool, we can have our little adventure at the casino, but it's more Rose driving the fact that, like, I know how to get us into that shit. Right. And then Finn obviously does. He's like, I used to mop the fucking floors there. Let's go, Yeah. And so then when they get to the ship, have her fucking hack into the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
And get him in there. To me, that's a little cleaner.
Yeah.
And then you have, cool, so now she's neat and she knows how to do this stuff. Oh, she's got a soft spot for... her and her sister grew up in this mining thing, and these animals were blah, 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 blah. And then so it makes, to me,
and you don't have to introduce a new character.
Yeah, and it cleans that up a little bit, and it gives these neat traits to her instead of, honestly, pointless rando character played by an actor that I love, Benicio del Toro, but it's like...
I don't think that dude ages, by the way.
He's looked the same since fucking Fear and Loathing, so I really don't know.
Yeah, and he looks better in this movie.
I know,
right? Like this movie, and I don't know if you've seen Sicario.
No, but...
It's, like, that dude is sexy as fuck. Like, he just keeps on getting better looking.
He's better looking. His stutter was fucking weird. I'm sorry. It was off. It was off-putting completely. I don't mind a character having a stutter, but God bless America, was that fucking weird.
Why did he have to have a stutter?
That's I guess that again. It's like if I watched it again today, and so I'm even me. I'm like, oh, here comes the Canto Blight bullshit, and I didn't hate it. Because actually I thought the little gremlin dude that kept trying to put money in BB-8, that was fucking hilarious, and I think the things that BB-8 did on that planet were fucking cool. He's like, all right, we gotta steal a fucking ship, and him shooting the coins at the cops and shit like that. Like, I ain't going back, that I loved BB-8. Actually, side note, BB-8 was fucking awesome in this movie.
Yes.
Like him taking the ATST and just shooting everybody in the fucking hangar.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, you're amazing, you know? But yeah, things that don't work in this movie, clean up the Canto Blight thing and make Rose cooler. Like, she's already neat and adorable, now give her some fucking skills. And so I just thought that was kind of like, all right, let's put Benicio del Toro in there, and you know, and I don't know, man.
Yeah. There's a few other things that I had issues with, but for the sake of time, I'll just talk about the one other thing, the one main thing
that you don't like.
That I thought could have been done better is the final showdown between Finn and Captain Phasma.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
Okay, yeah, and we briefly talked about this, but we decided to kind of save the full conversation for the podcast. So, no doubt this was coming. Obviously, we knew from the trailer, the pretty reflection shot that we got. It was a cool fight scene.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, like cinematically, it was amazing. Like, it was cool to see.
She kicked his ass too.
Yeah, like it was cool to see him, you know, kind of have his ass handed to him.
Well, so that see her abilities,
yeah,
in her armor.
Yeah. So my main issue is that even though it was a pretty cool fight scene, I don't know if it was very well earned.
Yeah.
Because there really weren't too many encounters between Finn and Captain Phasma. I thought one thing that could have stand to be done instead was hold on to her until episode 9 and find a way to work in one final battle. Like, maybe have her, I think you said, like, have her, like, find a way to leave the...
I would have had her be disgraced in this movie in front of all. If you're gonna make them fight in that hangar, okay, while the scram, everything's on fire, obviously. So while the stormtroopers are running away and trying to get to whatever, when Finn knocks her fucking helmet in and breaks it, and you see her eye,
yeah,
I'm like, ooh, she's gonna take her fucking helmet off,
yeah,
and that's a big no with these stormtroopers to do that, because your identity isn't supposed to be known like that, and I think it would have been neat to make her hatred for him more personal. And so then, like, she leaves this movie, comes back in the next movie, and she's basically hunting him down. The subplot of Finn being, I got to deal with fucking Phasma. Rey's got Kylo Ren, he's got fucking Phasma. And she was just wasted, dude. I mean, like, you see episode 7, and you're like, ooh, she's neat. Like, that's our new, I don't know, Boba Fett type person, where it's that neat person in the armor that gets just enough screen time and mystery to be cool. And so, but then that's it. Yeah. And then she gets punched in the face by Chewbacca in episode 7. And then in this one, she shows up for 5 minutes, kicks Finn's ass. Oh, JK, Finn found the elevator button and hits you in the goddamn face. And then you fall into fucking fire. And I think she's actually dead. Like, because then the ship obviously blew the fuck up. So I was kind of like, all right. Did you guys just not know what to do with her? Yeah. Because I had plenty of ideas what to do with her. She should have fought Finn in episode 7 instead of that rando fucking stormtrooper did. Mm-hmm. Kicked the shit out of Finn. And then if you want to give Finn a win on her this time, then give him a win on her this time. Even if it could be in the shitty way that he did, it would have given more history. There's more history between them at this point. Right. He has a true, like, nemesis character. And then don't kill her. And then have her in 9. Right. Her going out the way that she did was reminiscent of Boba Fett getting tapped on the back and flying into the fucking vagina mouth in episode 6.
The Sarlacc pit.
And it burps. Remember that it burped?
Oh my god.
Remember it eats him and it just goes I'm like, okay.
Well,
So Phasma was billed, and it's a disgrace to the actress that's in that suit, Gwendolyn Christie.
Yes,
who,
huge disgrace.
She kicks so much ass in Game of Thrones that you're like, okay, you have this chick who can do awesome stuff,
right?
And you just didn't.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so that's pretty much. I think our biggest complaint is yes, that scene could have been handled a little bit differently, but overall, our complaint is that her character was kind of wasted.
I was intrigued by her appearance, and now I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if she's dead, if that's what they go with, whatever.
Yeah,
Underdeveloped, underutilized, and I was sitting there watching the movie again today when that happened. My sister just literally, she goes, eh. She shrugged when she fell into the fucking fire.
Yeah, it wasn't her first time seeing it, was
No,
it?
it's her second. She saw it with me the first time.
Yeah.
It was the second time. My dad afterwards, it was his first time today. He just goes, "So are they gonna do anything with that silver stormtrooper?" And I'm like, "Apparently not. Apparently they don't care."
I think she's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Is there anything that we haven't covered that you weren't a huge fan of?
That wasn't as strong. My main gripe was cleaning up the casino plot, giving Rose a little more to do. She could have absorbed some of the skills that Benicio del Toro's character had, so just don't even use him. And then the lack of Phasma being awesome, and
right?
Developing her more, giving her more time. I mean, like, even having her have more screen time. Have her just be standing next to Hux and shit, like during scenes. Like, you have all these other officers are running everywhere. It's like, where the fuck is she? Is she not calling? Does she have no authority or anything? Or is she? I mean, and if she's a battlefield commander, have her be in the fucking trenches. Like, instead of killing her on that Star Destroyer this time, have her go down to Crate and be there.
Yeah.
Actively doing shit.
Yeah.
And if you want to leave her fate up to mystery again or whatever, maybe she gets shot down or something blows up and you don't know if she's gone or not, or she just hightails it the fuck out of here there, because then you save Finn's. Here's a cool idea. Finn crashes his fucking ship into her ship and they both get out and then they fight for a second and he fucking takes her goddamn helmet off and all of her fucking men can see that. You know, and then I had a whole there's better ways to have utilized her, and I'm sad that it's just done so. Little messy with some of those things. Sorry, there's a ghost in my fucking apartment. Apparently.
Yeah, I'm staring at Andrew's Christmas tree, and an ornament just fell off. And I mean, I don't get scared easily, but
maybe it's the Force. But beyond that, I'm having trouble really thinking about. Yeah, I actually love the fact that Snoke is dead. I thought that was a bold choice, so I'm down. Like any major story points that's how the movie was going to go. This is where they wanted to go with it. I am totally in acceptance of, and I'm just like, cool. I enjoy. You know, the little complaints like the thing about Phasma and the casino stuff is, I think, valid to complain about. But that's really all I got for you. As far as that, I thoroughly enjoyed everything else. So,
all right. So, before we get into the things we'd like to see in episode 9 and maybe some slight predictions, I actually meant to do this at the beginning because I might have said in a Facebook post that I would try and do it at the beginning of the episode, or maybe I just thought that in my head. Anyways, so we did a poll, and I think I'm going to try and do more polls, maybe like one per episode, just to get a little bit more audience interaction, because that's always a good thing. And the question was simply, what did you think of The Last Jedi? The options were, I loved it, I really liked it, but I had a few issues. It sucked, it was okay, and other.
Okay.
I reversed, it was okay, and it sucked. It was supposed to go, yeah. Anyways, so I basically, the way I came up with those potential answers is I kind of sat down with what I've heard about the movie so far, and what people's responses to the movie have been, and I was like, okay, well, those will be the options to choose from. As of right now, which, I mean, the poll is basically closed for the most part. The most votes, 38%, said that they loved it. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. And then 32%, almost 33, said that they really liked it but had a few issues.
Sure.
So those two coming in almost neck and neck, that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I can definitely.
I mean, hell, we just did a whole thing on how we had a couple of issues. So,
yeah.
I mean, but I would even also my category would be I loved it, but I also had some issues.
Yeah.
that's I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, 15.96% said that it sucked.
Fuck you, motherfuckers.
You guys can go suck your own dick.
Like in Jay and Silent Bob, you are the motherfucker. I can't even do it.
I'm gonna make you shit out your shit and then eat his shit, which is made out of meat.
All you motherfuckers. Yeah.
All you Miramax fucks.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, and then 9% said that it was okay, and then there was a couple percent
For other?
What
the fuck does that even mean? I don't know. I was eating a sandwich the whole time, so the sandwich was fantastic.
Well, every good poll or election has a write-in option, and I looked at them before we started, and they weren't very. I don't know how to put this. People basically just came up with their own version of the pre-existing options.
Sure.
Like someone said it was garbage.
Okay, so it sucked then.
Yeah, and another person was like stupid, and I'm like, well, you're stupid, so...
Again, very tolerant of other people's opinions here.
Yes.
You know what's funny is we could talk about any other thing, but when it comes to like Star Wars, we're like, if you don't like it, go fuck yourself! Or like, you ever meet someone and you're like talking about Star Wars and they're like, I've never even seen a Star Wars. And I'm like, well, kill yourself then. Like, I don't care about you at all. Oh, go play in traffic.
No,
I hope you get hit by the Millennium Falcon.
Right, but for serious, if you voted for it sucked or it was okay or whatever, I mean that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. It's just whatever. I don't want you to think that like.
Oh, we're kidding.
That we're hateful and shit. So like for realsies, like we, it's not just a matter of looking out for.
I think that's what's fun
making sure
about.
We don't lose audience members.
I think what's fun about Star Wars is the fact that it inspires this kind of debate, completely born out of passion.
Yeah.
The reason why I rip the fucking prequels so much is because I love Star Wars so much. I'm like, why aren't those good?
Right.
Like, why can't it's like, damn it, you almost had it. They were almost okay, and you just fucked them.
Yeah. So you want to quickly do some things that
Episode
we like to
9
see?
stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have things that you'd like to see?
Absolutely.
Hash out in episode 9?
So I want Kylo Ren to actually die. And I don't want him to die in a self-sacrifice kind of way, because at this point I think we've gone past who the fuck is he going to self-sacrifice against, unless he decides to, if there's some kind of base or installation or ship or weapon, and if he just decides to kill himself and bring it all down around him, maybe that's an option. Mm-hmm. But I just, that's to me is, Darth Vader did that. So
yeah, I feel like
I think Rey should just kill his ass. I think he should be kicking a lot of rebel ass throughout most of the movie. The First Order should do some damage, and he should be. I want to see a Supreme Leader Kylo that is cold and just bad as fuck.
Right.
And you can still keep the emotion. I mean, the emotion is what drives him and keeps him unique and passionate. So I want that. Just we're gonna get him. I want him to still be like that. But then have Rey also just get real good at shit, and then I want them to, however that confrontation ends up fucking happening, she should kill him. She should kill him and in battle, and that should be the end of him. And I think that would be just a fitting end to him, because everything he's done, he's betrayed his family, he's betrayed both of his masters that he's had, he's been completely selfish this entire time. And to see him think, he thinks he has everything he's wanted. He's in charge of a very powerful military force, and he seemingly has the galaxy under his control. And to see him fucking lose in battle to someone who's better than him, that did not succumb to the lure of the dark side, and to really show how giving into the dark side makes you weak, because you're giving up yourself. when you let that power, as much as he thinks that power is good for him, and I'm fucking awesome, it's like all it's done is made you imbalanced, makes you make stupid fucking decisions, and think about every fucking Darksider we've ever seen. What do they get beat by? Overconfidence. The Emperor lost because the Emperor never thought Vader would fucking pick his ass up and throw him down a goddamn hole,
right?
You know, and then Snoke certainly didn't expect to get skewered in the fucking middle of the goddamn movie. So these fuckers start off great and then lose to their own arrogance. And kind of like a la Voldemort in Harry Potter, who just thinks, I got everything fucking taken care of. Oh god, all my Horcruxes are gone. A bunch of kids did that shit. Fuck. Alright, let me just save my snake. And then fucking Neville, I'm awesome! You know, like, he... I don't know if in the Harry Potter books, in that final scene with Harry basically telling Voldemort, here's why you're fucked and why. Right. And he's like, nuh-uh, but shoot you with the spell. Oh, wait. I'm dead. Ah, fuck. So to finally have Rey beat his ass would be great. So I want to see a good old-fashioned lightsaber battle that shows the two of them at the pinnacle of their power and ability. I want some good fast swinging, and I think more than anything in the entire goddamn world, I want Rey to have a double-bladed fucking lightsaber. I want her... all of the clues are there! She's proficient with the staff, and she's holding a lightsaber crystal in her hand, because she's still got the broken one there. Put that in your other thing... and go. And maybe Luke's green lightsaber is back on that fucking planet, maybe. Go get the rest of it and fucking make that happen. I want to see a light side person with the most badass weapon ever introduced into Star Wars. So do that. And then I want Leia. I want her death to be referenced in the opening crawl, and then let's move past it. I don't want to draw any more attention to... I don't want a digital recreation of her, which they're not going to do that, but... Yeah,
that was something that kind of threw me off guard with The Last Jedi, was that I remember reading that
they were going to send her
Leia
off.
Was going to get a proper send-off. And when she was still alive, I was like, well, they already said that they weren't going to do any digital... recreation.
Out of respect for her and her performance, which was very good. I think we missed saying that Carrie Fisher did a really good job in this movie, sadly, of course. And I think they just wanted to make sure that her legacy in that was intact, so they just left the movie alone. Do it so... I would like them to do a time skip now.
Between I was going to touch
8 and 9.
That.
Let some time go by. Let this new war, let the rebellion and the First Order be fighting at it for a little while when we're reintroduced to the story and brought back into it, and maybe say that Leia during this time, because the good thing is it's not impossible to say that, okay, she has passed away since whatever, because by the end, even the way that she's talking is very soft.
Yeah.
And she's obviously she got hurt really bad at the beginning of the movie, so it wouldn't be completely crazy if, okay, she's gone, and that's fine.
I would buy that, and I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
If in the opening
to me, that's the
crawl,
cleanest way to do it.
Yeah, because it would solve a few issues. You named off a couple. One of the biggest issues is taking up time in the movie. If they don't have to spend the time in the movie killing her off,
or do a funeral or something, you don't have to do that.
You can take that time, that 20 or 30 minutes that would be dedicated to that, and throw that at something else that will need that time.
I want a Luke Skywalker Force Ghost. Yeah. I want him to be helping her out, helping Rey out.
That would totally make sense, because there's been Force Ghosts and all the other ones.
I want Luke Skywalker as a Force Ghost to fuck with Kylo Ren. I want that to happen, and I think that would be a little bit of haunting in a way that would be hilarious. And because we saw in this one with Yoda that Force Ghosts can actually interact with the environment. And then also Luke projecting himself could fucking interact with the environment. So once again, just to fuck with Kylo, I think that'd be awesome if he actually could do that from beyond the grave. And I don't think what I'm about to say is going to happen, but I think it would be neat. An Anakin Skywalker Force Ghost talking to Kylo Ren and basically trying to get him to be like, basically like, you have everything wrong, and recognizing that he was once Darth Vader and having him explain to him, like, some kind of just like, don't do what you're doing kind of thing.
Right.
Be a neat way to get, I wouldn't, and make it Hayden Christensen. Poor bastard. But give him a thing,
right.
Maybe with a good director, he'll actually say some lines properly.
Maybe.
But I want to see General Poe Dameron.
Okay.
Okay. I think that makes the most sense because of how close he was to Leia. And if she's gone, General Dameron, he can still be in an X-Wing and shit. That's a signature thing. But General Dameron, I want Finn to have some kind of rank as well. That
would make sense.
Have those two bros and Rose just be fucking spearheading the shit. And then Rey, I think it'd be neat. Rey doesn't need an apprentice because she's not ready for that yet, but maybe by the end foreshadow the fact that the Jedi are going to full on come back or whatever version, because she's got those books. She stole the Jedi text, so have her start to rebuild that once the First Order is gone and actually show that the hope for the galaxy is restored. So what's so funny? I'm running out of shit to say because I just don't fucking know what the fuck they're gonna do.
Oh yeah, I don't have a whole lot.
So just things that I'd like, just to recap: double-bladed lightsaber. I want Kylo Ren to die legitimately. Force Ghost Luke to instruct her, and then also / fuck with Kylo.
Yeah.
Anakin, Force Ghost. Side note, possibly Obi-Wan if they want to do a Ewan McGregor thing. Who knows? Be kind of cool, but whatever. It might be unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then a nice rank up for our other Resistance bros would be cool. Other than that, I am struggling because I don't know what to expect, and I'm so okay with that.
I'll jump in.
Yeah.
Like I just said, I don't have much. I think my biggest thing that I want to see out of Episode 9, and I believe I speak for like 98% of all the other Star Wars fans, is finally getting to see where Rey comes from, like her family heritage.
So if you're saying that you're not buying it with her junk parents,
correct.
Okay.
I mean, it's very well possible that, I mean, I'm not discounting the idea that her parents maybe were nobodies, but maybe they were, maybe she's descendants from, someone that was a Jedi once before.
Maybe her parents were Force sensitives. Maybe they were Jedi Knights that were in hiding on Jakku, and they hid her or something like that. And then to Kylo, if his opinion is based on the touching her and seeing what he thinks he sees, maybe they did die on the desert or something, and maybe that is what happened, but he doesn't know the rest of the story. So to manipulate her, he's just kind of saying, "Oh, they ain't shit."
Yeah, I think I think that was bullshit. That what he was saying when he was like, "Your parents are nobody."
So you think he's fucking with her?
I think so. I think he was trying to manipulate her into coming with him.
I'm your family now.
Yeah. Fuck your parents.
Love me.
Why does everyone always want to go back to Jakku?
More.
So that's something that I really like to see. And to me, it makes sense because they built up so much mystery behind, where she's come from, who her parents were, like we said earlier in the podcast, how she's, so naturally gifted. I know we talked about, her being, on her own and having to fend for herself. So obviously that's where some of her, abilities come from. But yeah, I think that she hails from Jedi ancestry, and I would really like for there to be a big reveal.
And maybe not even necessary that they don't have to be. I mean, they're obvious. It's obviously not Luke Skywalker at this point,
Right.
And it doesn't have to be. Long theory was that she's the secret sister to Kylo Ren or something like that. That Han and Leia had another kid, but it doesn't have to be anything like that. I think you could have her parents be somebody new, but give them a significant play that and make them maybe heroes. Think about this, like Harry Potter's parents. I keep going back to this, but like Harry Potter's parents, you just hear about how great James and Lily were, but you never really see them all that much.
Yeah.
But they were awesome, and they went out like heroes. They protected their son. Maybe her parents were something of that nature, where they were freedom fighters or Jedi people or whatever that did die, and then them leaving her was to save her from what they saw coming with Kylo Ren. So
that could be something where that one shot that we got in
the ship flying away.
She's screaming no or whatever. What if that wasn't them abandoning her because they sold her into slavery? They had to go fight for
whatever.
The resistance or whatever.
Something.
Yeah. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much it that I had for what I'd like to see in episode 9.
Oh wait, I got one more.
Okay.
Lando Calrissian surrounded by bitches. No, I don't know.
Colt 45.
Hello. Hello, what have we here? I'm back, motherfuckers.
Oh my god. Shit. Okay, well.
That's a lot of Star Wars.
It is, and it's actually I thought we were going to talk for a lot longer than we did. It's coming up on only an hour and a half.
Well,
we've talked for longer.
Yeah.
So.
I can there's so many different topics even just within this particular film. I mean, you could do let's talk about Kylo Ren for an hour. You know what I mean? Or because you could. There's some of these characters have very rich lore that you could dive into to try to expand upon. But overall, I mean, we got ourselves a good movie here and a wonderful.
And I'm super psyched that J.J. Abrams is bringing home the trilogy.
I'm excited for that. I think that now the safeness. I think they're going to allow him to not be as safe as he was with Episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, all right, man, bring it home. Do something cool.
Yeah.
And I think now that Episode 8 has succeeded again, we've had it's making money, and for the most part, everyone's totally into it. And now we can do more creative things and make Episode 9 a very cool closing chapter to this trilogy. The other thing here is it's kind of poetic that the guy that helped bring the saga back is going to end this one. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Neat.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this episode of the Geek Garage podcast. If you want to check us out on the internet, our website is geekgaragepodcast.com. Like I said, I'm going to try and do more audience interaction type stuff, like more polls.
More!
You scared the shit out of me.
I was waiting for you to say more. I was like, it's going to come at some point. More!
Yeah. Jesus. Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all that shit. Go download or subscribe to our podcast on the iTunes Store and Google Play and all that shit. And please, we have a store, so if you want to buy stuff with our logo on it, that's cool. But our favorite way for you guys to support our show is absolutely free. All you need to do is go to iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher or wherever, and you don't even have to leave an actual review. Just hit 5 stars because we are that good.
I would think that this is a 6-star podcast, but
yes.
They only allow 5.
Guys,
I know moving your hand on a mouse and clicking a button is just exhausting.
I know.
But for us,
just do it.
Just, make that your workout that day.
Yeah.
And reward yourself with a nice cold Corona when you're done. Just whatever you want to do there. It's not hard.
No, it is not.
No. Finish what you started.
All right.
More.
Thank you so much. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
More.